Hello everyone, welcome to Naren Inside with MS. This is Naren and it's time for a thoughtful Thursday. And this thoughtful Thursday, I wanted to take note of the fact that, it was just a week back that, I went to the gym, had a pretty intense workout, and as a result, um, kind of hurt my lower back to the extent that I had a lot of trouble moving on Friday. And Friday is usually a day that I go to work, so it was pretty difficult to navigate the workplace with my back. And then Saturday I was at the hospital for my monthly vitamin B12. And then so it was only until about Sunday that I actually had the chance to rest, relax, and recuperate. And yes, it has taken the rest of this week to pretty much lower the discomfort that I actually felt um, as a result of I'm guessing it was just more a sprain, or maybe I pulled something that I had to do. But when I think about the fact that my lower back hurts, I do know that generally the lower back area ends up being one of the places where people do end up getting injured or do complain of pain a lot. And that was one thing that I definitely noticed this week, because obviously one thing that does happen is, say you're working on something or say you're focusing on something, you usually bend a little forward like I'm doing right now. And then once whatever you were doing is completed, you tend to um, you know just relax again, um, you know um, again relax, and pretty much loosen up your muscles. And that made me and because I was taking note of the fact that my lower back was still a little sensitive. I very I would very frequently step back. I would very frequently relax and go back to you know um, taking a more relaxed sort of stance while I was doing something, working, or doing anything for that matter. But I realized that a lot of times, in other instances, say if my lower back wasn't injured or pulled or in pain, I would probably be bent forward for an extended period of time, and that would probably also create, or you know um, pretty much generate that lower back pain. So that is one thing that I did want to discuss with you, as to if you as to and this is only if you do suffer from lower back. How often do you notice that it happens as a result of you bend forward, maybe working on a laptop, or looking into your phone, or doing anything for that matter? And what are some steps that you actually take to not keep that bend forward, straining the lower back, taking a stance or taking a position that ends up straining your lower back? So how often do you do that? And of course, when do you start noticing that you are developing strain on your lower back, you are developing that stress, or even if it turns into more of pain, when do you notice that, and what do you do to prevent that from happening? This is something that, after I did have that injury last week, I am, a little mindful of, just to make sure that I continuously rest my lower back. And of course, this is something that I will definitely be taking note of in the future as well, so that I can, at least prevent a lot of injury, a lot of strain, of course, a lot of lower back pain in the future. So, yes, please do share your thoughts, your insights as to what are some things that you do to ensure that, you don't develop that lower back pain or that lower back strain, that of course does end up impacting everything, right? I had trouble walking, I had trouble standing, I definitely had trouble even doing very simple tasks. So yes, please do share your thoughts and insights on this, so that we can get a conversation started, and of course, set up something so that we can prevent, future lower back strain or pain, whatever you want to call it. Because one thing that does happen with MS is, if it has happened once, it might happen again very, very quickly. So it's very important that, it should be more of a one and done thing when it comes to any sort of injury or strain or pain, rather than, setting ourselves up to, repeat that same issue over and over until it becomes chronic. So, yes, please do share your thoughts, your insights, your experiences with what you do. And of course, this has been Narain's Life with MS. I am Narain, and here's wishing you a good night, sweet dreams. And of course, I will talk to you tomorrow. Bye.